Right, so it's Saturday morning. I got my coffee. Car, coffee can only mean one thing. We're going for a ride, and I'm going to be talking about some of the things that I learned this week. I'm going to be sharing with you some insights from clients that I work with, from some success that we had with some campaigns, and just some thoughts in general. But before we get started, I'm going to flip my camera and I'm going to show you the scenery because it's unbelievable. Just look at that. All right, I didn't think about the fact that I'm recording with my phone and I have the notes about today's video in the phone. So that's not a great start, but I remember more or less what we're going to be talking about. In the beginning, I definitely want to talk about IG follower ads. What are the pros, what are the cons? That's a strategy that you hear more and more lately. And I want to just give my 2 cents on the strategy because we've tested it with quite a lot of clients and there are some major issues when it comes to that strategy. After that, I'm going to be talking about another common problem that I see, and that is overcomplicating the marketing message and don't really understand who you are talking to. After that, I will be talking about how to find what drives you in business and in life so that you can be as aligned as possible and you can feel like you are on the, let's put it on the right path, let's say it like that. And then what else? I think that's it. I'm probably going to have 3 topics. So I'm going to be putting my coffee down and I will say we can get started. In the meantime that I turn around, I just want to know if any of you guys place any bets on the Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson fight. Today's Saturday morning. They were fighting, I think, last night or this morning. I'm not sure. I think it was like 4 a.m. Central European time. But if you did, how much did you win? In my case, I did place a bet. It was actually like random. I normally never bet. But easy money. So we like money. What an easy way to make some extra money. Wake up on Saturday morning and just have 24 hours to blow that money. So yeah, let me know if any of you guys place any bet and what else. Oh, I think that's pretty much it. So I'm just gonna start talking about, again, IG follower ads. Actually, before I do that, there is something else quite interesting that I do want to talk to you about. And that is just getting feedback and analyzing the data. You know that I'm a numbers guy. And last week, it was the first week that I published the Coffee Run 1, which was the first episode where I basically am in my car. I just drive around and I basically just talk. And that actually did very well. It's quite interesting that there are other videos where I probably spend like, I don't know, 8 hours creating those videos. And yes, I did get some messages, but last week when I uploaded the video, it's crazy the amount of messages that I got from people asking me questions about ads, asking me questions about my agency. So even though it didn't have that many views, it did have more views than usual, but it's crazy the engagement. Even the watch rate on that video like was crazy. So that just goes to show that sometimes like you can do things that are not really what you normally see out there. But if you feel like a specific type of content can do well, and if you also enjoy it, creating that content, because for me, again, you know me, I like coffee, I like cars, so there is no better combination than that. So I actually do have a lot of fun recording this video and just talking and just sharing the insights of everything that I learned in the last 7 days. And yeah, this just goes to show that if you have a good idea, if you have a good piece of content, then just go ahead and create it. If it works well, then just do it more. So for me, from now on, this is going to be a weekly catch up that we're going to have, where you can learn something and hopefully you are going to be able to make some progress in your business and also in your life, because I don't want to make this channel just about business. So yeah, that was quite interesting. And also it was quite interesting that I mean, I would say in general, I've noticed that whenever you publish a video on YouTube, the first day it doesn't really get that much traction, but then if a video is going to do well, then day 2, like the views are going to go up quite a lot. And again, we're talking about small numbers, but trust me, if you look at the number of DMs that I got from that video, out of probably 250 people that watched the video, that is pretty impressive. So that is quite interesting. And again, the video, I had so many topics in the title itself. The thumbnail was just a screenshot of me driving. So again, that goes to show that sometimes if you do things differently, they might work well. So without wasting too much time, I think the intro was already a bit too long. I would say we can start talking about the Instagram follower ads. Now, when it comes to Instagram follower ads, probably this strategy, I would say that you started hearing it more in the last year and a half. And again, I've been running ads and doing marketing for the past 5 years, roughly. So I'm always open to new strategies. I'm the first one to tell you that when it comes to marketing, when it comes to acquisition, there are always going to be trends, okay? I remember that at some point there was the IGDM strategy that was getting more and more traction, and honestly for like a year and a half we were pushing that strategy like crazy. That was probably the main strategy that we were using for clients. Over time it started performing a little bit less. There have been more problems. A lot of people also had problems with accounts on Instagram going down very often. So overall, like, it was getting more and more problematic to run that strategy. So that's why we shifted to different strategies like the usual VSL, lead forms, online workshops. And again, it depends, of course, on the offer, depends on the strategy. But that again is to show you and to tell you that there are always going to be trends when it comes to acquisition. 1 year it could be IGDM ads that get better results. 1 year it could be VSL. 1 year it could be IG follower ads. But the point that I'm trying to make here is that as soon as I heard that strategy and as soon as I analyzed it, I immediately figured out that there was a major problem with that strategy, and that is tracking. You know that I always talk about data. I always talk about making decisions based on numbers and not based on emotions. And the problem, major problem that you have with the Instagram follower ads is that they're pretty much untrackable. Some people might tell you, yeah, that you can track the performance. No, you can't, because there are different ways of running Instagram follower ads, okay? So one common strategy is that you upload a video on your Instagram account and then you basically just boost it, and then you can check how many followers you got from that post, and then you just do the math, how much you spend divided by the number of followers. Second strategy is that you don't post it on your Instagram account, you just run it as an ad and you use Instagram profile visits. Now, what is the problem? The problem is that at the end of the day, like, followers, you care about them, but you really don't, because what matters is number of calls that you're booking and the number of sales and clients that you're acquiring. So every time that you book a call, every time that you close a client, you should be able to track exactly from which ad, from which post that client or that call came from. Now, what is the problem in the IG follower ads? The problem is that that is untrackable, because first of all, let's say that today you get 100 followers, and let's say that you run 3 different ads. There is no way for you to know from which ad each follower is coming from, because with follower ads you cannot use UTM codes, you cannot use Hyros, you cannot use any other third-party software. So you're basically just getting followers. Yes, you're getting followers, but it's random. You don't know from which ad they're coming from. And some people might say, yeah, but you can run one ad at a time. And the answer is yes, you can. But first of all, it's going to be very difficult for you to scale and start spending a lot of money if you're only running one ad at a time. And the second problem is that you can say, yeah, the followers are coming from that ad, if you have zero, and I mean zero, organic traction. Because what happens if you post reels and they get good engagement, they get good reach, and you get followers from those ads? Then you have new followers coming in, but you don't know if they're coming from the ads, you don't know from which ad they're coming from, and you don't know if they're coming from organic. Like, you see how messy this thing becomes. And again, when it comes to marketing, when it comes to acquisition, you cannot scale or you cannot track. So that's why so many times you hear people talking about the IG follower ads, but then they spend like $3,000 a month. And it's gonna be a bit difficult to scale a company with $3,000 a month. So again, that's just my personal take on the strategy. Yeah, it's still recording. In some cases, don't get me wrong, like, it does work well, especially when it comes to fitness. I would say that works really, really well. It does work well for mass market offers, but in a lot of cases, like, you're gonna have problems. And even if you have a fitness offer, you're still gonna have the problem of not being able to track it completely. But compared to other strategies like a VSL, For the fitness case, yeah, like they're gonna get you better results. The downside is, of course, you cannot track the performance that well. So that is a problem that I see with the IG follower strategy. Second thing that I want to talk about today is going to be overcomplicating the marketing message. Now, why do I want to talk about that? Well, the reason is quite simple. So this week I had at least 3 calls with people where I analyzed the VSL that they wanted to run and the ads, and I told all of them, you need to simplify the message. They had different offers. One of them was teaching appointment setting, another one was teaching e-commerce, and another one was teaching Airbnb, arbitrage. And in all of the cases, the messaging was just way too complicated, especially, and I really want to put emphasis on that, especially when it comes to a B2C audience, especially when it comes to like a mass market audience. You need to simplify the message, okay? A lot of times people use complicated terms, they make it sound very complicated, and they don't understand that the people that are gonna be watching those ads have no clue what you're talking about. Most of the times, especially like if we're not talking about business models that a lot of people know, for example, like dropshipping or trading. Like a lot of people, even if they don't follow the online world, they probably heard those words. Like I have friends of mine that they definitely have no clue what SMA is, they have no clue what, yeah, maybe crypto, they've heard of crypto, but they always heard the word dropshipping or trading. So unless you have those offers where people heard dropshipping, they heard of trading, you really need to simplify the message, because if you make it too complicated, people are gonna get lost. They're not gonna understand what you're talking about, and then they're gonna lose interest, because remember, if people get confused, they skip or they scroll. Okay, they reopened the road. You remember last time I went there? That was actually quite interesting. So maybe today we're not gonna get lost. But going back to what I was saying, again, I remember that I was checking the VSL and checking the ads, and the message was just way too complicated. I was like, you need to really simplify all of these, because the problem that all these 3 people had is that the VSL was not really converting for them. It was converting below 6%, and the ads, they had like a very high cost per click and very low CTR. So I knew exactly what was the reason. It was just way too complicated and way too difficult to understand. So if you're making the same mistake, again, put yourself in the shoes of your ideal clients, and especially if they're beginners, you really need to simplify the message as much as you can, otherwise they're going to get lost. Then overcomplicating the message. Is there anything else that I can tell about that? I would say that, again, if you have an offer where you teach people how to make money, for example, whether that is dropshipping, e-commerce, SMMA, or any type of business opportunity that you have, I would always suggest taking a look at people that have a massive organic audience. So for example, Iman understands this very well. If you look at the YouTube videos that he publishes, he explained the business model in a way that is so easy to understand. Same thing goes for his ads, the same thing goes for his YouTube videos. He really has a way to explain things that is extremely easy to understand. So again, if you have some time, just analyze people that have a very big organic audience, and you're going to understand what I mean. The third topic that I want to talk about, that I actually forgot to mention before, is going to be organic growth. I know a lot of you guys know me for paid ads, for funnels. I don't talk about organic that often, and a lot of times, you know, that I will always say, like, when it comes to organic, it's great, but it definitely has a lot of downsides. One of them is how slow it is. Second, it's going to be very unpredictable, and third, it's going to be pretty difficult to scale. But at the same time, I always say that, like, you should always have an organic strategy. It's very, very important, because it's just a long-term asset, and the better the asset that you're creating is going to be, the better your life in general is going to be. Because if you have a YouTube channel, if you have an Instagram account that just books calls on autopilot, that's such a great asset to have. And that's why you see, even, I don't know, again, I said Iman before, another example could be Charlie Morgan. You see a lot of people that have great YouTube channels that have a lot of audience, and like that have a big audience, and of course it took a lot of time to create those channels, but imagine the asset. Like, those channels, those accounts are growing day after day, and they are compounding, and again, it's such a great asset to have. So going back to what I was saying, when it comes to organic growth, I also do manage a couple of accounts for the organic, or I mainly do test, I would say, on those accounts. And one thing that I did notice, and that is working quite well, is, and I'm talking about mass market audiences, this is not really going to work if you have a B2B audience, okay? So keep that in mind. So if you have an offer that is mass market, that could be fitness, health in general, could be about making money, whatever the case might be, one thing that I've seen getting good results is when it comes to, I would say, like getting DMs, getting followers, is finding trends and recreating those reels. And most of the times those reels are going to be pretty simple. It's going to be lifestyle videos, and then you're going to have some text and music. And the songs you want to use, basically songs that are trending. So my suggestion is, again, you should be optimizing in this case also for volume. So if there is a specific trend a week, and the trend could be like a song, could be like the text. Again, you see on Instagram, like if you keep seeing the same reel over and over again from different people, that is a trend. So my suggestion, if you are trying to like grow your Instagram account organically, and if you have a bit like a mass market audience, then my suggestion is whenever you find something that gets resonance, that gets traction, and you see it right away. Let's say that one week you post 7 reels and one of them gets like 10x the number of views and 10x the number of DMs and stuff like that. My suggestion, since it did well, you basically just want to test different variations. So in one could be a slightly different clip in the beginning. In one could be a slightly different variation of the text. In another one could be a different call to action. Another one could be the caption. Now, I'm not saying that you should be testing like 100 different variations, but whenever you find something that works, again, keep trying to replicate the success. And trust me, a lot of times if one reel goes really well and then you create a micro variation, the micro variation will also get very good results. So this is a great way to grow your organic following. Again, remember that, as I always say, views, engagement, doesn't really matter. What matters is that you turn that traffic into DMs, into calls, and into clients. So that is the general rule. Don't try to become like the guy that has 200,000 followers but then makes $1,000 a month. And unfortunately, sometimes you do hear some of those stories, which are quite funny. But yeah, that was the third topic. Now, before I talk about the fourth topic, I think I need to watch out not to get lost, because I've really no clue where I'm going, as always. But it's fun. So yeah, going back to the fourth topic, I was thinking that, and I wasn't even thinking, I probably was just reflecting. That is a better word. I was reflecting on what drives people, because everybody is driven by different things. I talk to friends of mine, I talk to people that I have in my network, and I'm very high level people. And I notice how everybody has different goals. For some people, their goal is to have fame. For some people, the goal is to have money. For some people, the goal is to build a family. For some people, the goal is to, I don't know, be in like the best shape ever. So the reason why I'm telling you that is because a lot of times when it comes to business, especially for people that are a little bit younger, I see a lot of people setting goals and working in a way that is not aligned with what they really want. A lot of times I talk to people and they tell me, yeah, my goal is to get to like 200K per month. And then I ask them like, why do you want to get to 200K per month? And most of the time they say, oh, because that guy got to 200K per month, or because it's a good number. But it doesn't really have any meaning behind it, because for some people, getting to 200K per month means buying a lot of cars. That would be me. For some people, getting to 200K per month might mean, okay, I'm gonna have enough money so I can have a nice house for my family. For some people, 200K per month might be, okay, I'm gonna be traveling the world. So it's really important to understand what you actually like and how you want to design your lifestyle, because it's pointless to set a goal, especially if it's a financial goal, if you don't really know what actually motivates you. And again, you don't have to feel bad about what actually motivates you. At the end of the day, it's your life. Some people might be judging, some people might be having different thoughts, but again, at the end of the day, it's your life, so you need to optimize your life in the best way possible for you. Now, for example, like in my case, and that is since I was a kid, I always like to spend money. So for me, big part of my motivation up until this day is just to have money to buy things. I like cars, I like fancy food, I like hotels, I like clothes. I wouldn't say that I really like clothes. That's not really my thing. There are maybe some things that I like shoes and maybe like jackets, but I wouldn't say that I'm really motivated. Watches, I mean, I don't really care that much. I did buy a nice watch last year, but compared to the car, there is like the cars over watches for me like all the time. And in general, I just like to buy nice things. And I know a lot of people might say that that is superficial or that it's gonna get boring. Well, for me, it never gets boring, and I did make quite a lot of money in the last few years. So I just like it. It's just what makes me happy. And I also like other people to experience the same. So I like to help other people. I like to make sure they have great memories. And I like, them to have the same kind of experiences that I have. So these are the things that motivate me. For example, fame, I don't really care about fame at all. If you ask me, would you rather have 100 million followers or $100 million? I would say $100 million. Now, of course, I mean, some people would say, but if you have 100 million followers, you could be making a lot more than $100 million. Okay, that's not the example that I wanted to give. Let's say, for example, that, okay, $100 million, but you are capped at making 10 grand a month. That is the example that I wanted to give. So if that is the case, I would choose like money over fame. I don't really care about fame that much. Like, of course, if fame will come, it'll be fun, but that's not what I'm optimizing my life for. That's what I'm not optimizing my days for. So again, just really find what you like, where you want to live, what cars you want to drive. If you even like cars, I know so many people that they would rather have a richer meal over a Lambo. To me, that is insane. But if people like watches more than cars, then again, that's what they should be optimizing for. So again, I don't know even where I wanted to go, but I just wanted to share some thoughts when it comes to finding your motivation. Because again, so many times, especially in the online world, you set goals that are not yours, and that in the long term is really gonna damage you and mess you up. So my suggestion is, again, take some time to think about what you like, to think about the type of life that you want to live, and then optimize accordingly. So that was the first topic of the day. I think I've been talking for, I don't wanna, give me a second. I don't know, I think I've probably been talking for like 30 minutes. So with that being said, I'm gonna finish my coffee and I will see you next week. As always, if you have any question, if you want me to talk about a specific topic, then just let me know. And next week on Coffee Run 3, I'll make sure to cover those topics. With that being said, I talk to you soon. Bye-bye.